All right, let's talk about what's really happening in the business world. The whole AI revolution, it's not some far-off concept anymore. It is here right now. And what we're seeing is a high-stakes battle between three major players to become essentially the new operating system for your entire company. This isn't just about getting a new app. This is a fundamental shift in how work gets done. It is so easy to get swept up in all the hype, right? But this quote really hits the nail on the head. We have to go into this with a clear strategy. This isn't about just grabbing the shiniest new toy. It's a huge decision that is absolutely going to shape your organization for years, maybe even decades to come. So, how in the world do you make a choice this big? Well, that's what we're here to break down. We're going to start with how we even got here. Then we'll throw the three main contenders into the ring. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how they actually connect to your systems, explore the really cool idea of AI agents, and then wrap it all up with a solid framework to help you pick the right AI copilot for your team. I mean, seriously, doesn't it feel like just yesterday AI was just this fun thing for making silly poems or weird pictures? But then, in what feels like the blink of an eye, it became this core, must-have business strategy. The conversation is no longer if you should adopt AI. The real question now is how you're going to use it to get a serious leg up on the competition. Okay, so at the heart of this whole AI arms race, you've really got three main players, and each one has a totally different vibe. You've got the pioneer, OpenAI's ChatGPT Enterprise, then there's the ecosystem giant, Google's Gemini, and rounding it out is the safety-first challenger, Anthropic's Claude. Getting a handle on what makes each of them tick is step one to making a smart decision. So what really makes these three platforms so different from each other? Well, it all comes down to their foundational models. You can think of these as the brains of the whole operation. Each one was built with a different philosophy in mind, and that has a massive impact on what they can actually do. First up, let's talk about OpenAI's latest GPT 5.1. This is the one that started it all, and its superpower is its incredible reasoning skill. So what does that actually mean for you? It means it can tackle a really complex legal document, dream up a whole marketing campaign, or even write and fix computer code with a fluency that is frankly a little bit mind-blowing. Next, you've got Google's Gemini, which is a totally different beast. See, Gemini was built from day one to be multimodal. That's a fancy way of saying it doesn't just get text. It can see, it can hear, it can understand video. Just imagine this, asking your AI to watch a 2-hour product demo and then give you a bulleted list of all the customer feedback. That's the kind of power we're talking about here. And finally, there's Anthropic's Claude 4.5. Now, Claude has two big things going for it. First, it has a gigantic context window. You can think of that like the AI's short-term memory. The bigger it is, the more information it can juggle at once. And second, it was built with this intense focus on safety and reliability, which, let's be honest, is a huge deal for any business trusting it with important stuff. So just how much information are we talking about here? Some of these models can now process up to 2 million tokens in a single go. To put that in perspective for you, that's like feeding the AI all 3 Lord of the Rings books at once and then asking for a quick summary. For a business, that means analyzing hours of video, a company's entire code base, or a massive financial report, all in one shot. And, this isn't just about number crunching. That big context window also leads to some incredible creativity and consistency. As this customer found out, Claude was able to write entire chapters of a book, like 10 to 15 pages, keeping the plot and the characters straight the whole way through. Now, just imagine applying that same power to a complex project proposal or a deep dive market analysis report. All right, having a super smart AI brain is one thing, but if it can't actually connect to your business, what's the point? And that brings us to the absolutely critical topic of integration. How do these platforms plug into all the tools and systems you're already using every single day? Let's dig in. OpenAI is moving at an absolutely breakneck pace to build out its ecosystem. I mean, just look at this. They are rapidly adding support for everything from Microsoft Teams and Outlook to project management tools like Asana and developer favorites like GitLab. Their strategy is crystal clear. They want to make ChatGPT the central hub for everything you do. But when we talk about integration, Google has a secret weapon up its sleeve. As this quote points out, Gemini isn't just built to connect with Google's own tools, it's designed to securely connect with Microsoft 365. And that is a genius strategic move. Why? Because it lets Google play nicely in the sandbox where the vast majority of businesses already live, not just in its own backyard. Of course, none of this matters one bit if it isn't secure. And that's exactly why all the big players are rolling out these serious enterprise-grade security features. This means you can use your own encryption keys to lock down your data, set really specific permissions for who can do what, and have a crystal clear audit trail of everything the AI does. You get all the power without giving up control. So we've seen how these platforms can connect to the systems you already have. But what if they could do more than just read your data? What if they could actually take action for you? Well, that's the next big leap, the personal AI agent. We're moving from a world where AI is just a tool to one where it's a genuine co-pilot. And both OpenAI and Google are making it easier than ever to build these custom agents. On one hand, OpenAI's custom GPTs are fantastic for sharing, and they give you a lot of flexibility. On the other hand, Google's Gems have that killer integration with Google Drive and can handle more complex instructions, which makes them a real powerhouse for tasks that involve a ton of data. And this is where things get really interesting. When you give an AI the keys to act on your behalf, to connect to your most sensitive company data, how do you make sure you're still the one in the driver's seat? How do you keep it from making a mistake or going off the rails? This is honestly one of the biggest questions in enterprise AI right now. And the good news is the platforms are giving you the tools you need to manage this. This right here is a real-world example from inside ChatGPT's admin settings. You can get incredibly specific with permissions, like allowing an agent to read data from another app, but blocking it from writing or changing anything. That kind of granular control is absolutely essential. And this is an area where Anthropic's Claude really shines. It was specifically engineered to be reliable when it's handling complex, multi-step tasks. You can think of it like a self-driving car that's just better at navigating a long, tricky journey without getting lost or making a wrong turn. For businesses looking to automate really critical workflows, that level of reliability is a total game changer. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. We've looked at the core models, the integration game, and the incredible future of AI agents. Now it's time to bring it all home and answer that million-dollar question: which AI copilot is the right one for your business? Let's build a framework to help you figure it out. This table gives you a really quick, at-a-glance look at how the platforms compare. You can see OpenAI is leading the pack in app integration and sharing, which makes it a great pick for teams that need that flexibility. Google's big advantage is its mature ecosystem, though it's still playing a bit of catch-up on knowledge files. And Anthropic is more focused, really strong on knowledge with a growing list of connectors. And of course, we have to talk about the price tag. You can't make a business decision without looking at the cost. And as you can see, there's a pretty big difference. Google has priced Gemini Enterprise very, very aggressively, putting a ton of pressure on OpenAI. This pricing war is actually great news for all of us because it's making these powerful tools more accessible than ever. So, at the end of the day, the right choice really boils down to your company's strategy. If you're all about having the absolute cutting edge in AI reasoning and the biggest app store, then OpenAI is your pioneer. If your number one priority is making it work seamlessly with the tools you already use, Google is the ecosystem giant. And if you're automating mission-critical tasks where you just can't afford mistakes, Anthropic is the safety-first challenger. So the question really isn't if your business is going to adopt an AI copilot anymore. It's which one is going to define your future. And this is so much more than just a software decision. It's a choice about the kind of company you want to be. Are you a pioneer, an integrator, or a guardian of reliability? The choice is yours.